Alright, here we go. This is a custom 1v1 on Duel between the green player in the upper left-hand corner, YellowSavior, in the APB Striker, and his opponent, the blue player in the bottom right-hand corner in the Easter Osprey, darkblaze47. darkblaze, I haven't seen darkblaze in a really long time. I know he's kind of taken a break from AirMech, but I guess he is back for a little bit, if not for a while. And he is going with the Easter Osprey. Taking a quick look at the loadouts, darkblaze has shooters, so but not deciding to open with them. One really, I can't emphasize this enough, but really popular tactic nowadays is to go with all mass infantry opens, because they grab mid like super fast. Usually Mortys or Sams are the infantry of choice in that case, but this time actually Darkblaze and YellowSavior are both going no moneymaker. I didn't really notice that until now. So they both have gens in their loadouts. Darkblaze does have I think 2 out on the field, or 1. I'm not really sure how accurate these loadout counters are right now. He does have 2 out on the field, yes, so those loadout counters definitely wrong in replay mode. But Darkblaze and YellowSavior both approaching mid kind of in the same way, sending units from the bottom lane instead of the side lane, which is probably less common, but definitely part of the standard gameplay of Duel. And Darkblaze a little bit ahead, does have 2 busters in his unit composition with 2 Dillos as well. YellowSavior just with Longhorn actually does have an Archie out on the field to support his units, and Darkblaze does take this middle outpost, but let's see how long he can actually hold it for, or if YellowSavior will be able to actually approach this to actually take advantage of this early mid grab from Darkblaze. Darkblaze does still have the outpost under his control. There are still 3. Okay, now it probably will go right back down. Yes, that last infantry did actually, or that last Sam that spawned from, I think that was probably from one of the Longhorn or the Jackal. I'm not really exactly sure what runner spawned from, but that did go neutralized. That pretty much did all the neutralization. I don't think YellowSavier's units were actually firing at that middle outpost at all. And at this point, I think YellowSavior might have the advantage here, especially he does have the long-range units in the Buckies and the artillery, whereas Darkblaze only has the busters, which are a little bit longer in range than Longhorn are. Now coming up with even more tanks, but his army is just getting pelted here. He only has 3 ratchets out on the field. I don't know if that's really enough to make up for it, but he is an Osprey, so healing his units, keeping them alive. He does have an Aegis coming out on the field, so he will be able to pretty much nullify those Buckies, or at least for the most part. There are only 2, so I think that Aegis actually does the job. Might want to put it in the socket, but doesn't really matter. Might be a little bit in danger if he puts it a little bit too far up, and now starting to move his busters up. Going to be able to get a good amount of heal, and YellowSavior now just with more Buckies coming out. But look at all the ratchets that YellowSavior has over there. I don't think he really has lost too many units at all. Taking a look at the new and improved spectator UI, the Darkblaze actually has not killed any units. Neither has YellowSavior, so none of these players have really lost any units to enemy AirMechs. I mean, pretty much most of the time now, these units are, yeah, pretty much this entire time, both of these mechs have been in the air, but a Seeker killing Darkblaze, and YellowSavior will be able to take advantage of this. Going to be able to fire at some units from behind. Darkblaze now finally coming back to the fight, but YellowSavior will be able to just micro more and more Buckies. He can probably even push into these units at this point, or might have been able to when Darkblaze was down, and might have been able to actually just clear those units. Darkblaze would have pretty much come back to nothing, except for maybe ready-built units in his build queue. But look at this barrage of missiles from those Buckies. Darkblaze desperately trying to keep up, trying to keep everything healed up, but now goalie is shooting at his Aegis from the side. That neutral goalie is firing at him. And YellowSavior has lost very little units in this entire game. YellowSavior almost getting killed, but staying alive there. And now some more Longhorn coming out for Yellow, and actually going to do a fort drop probably. No, going to drop it at the outpost. Let's see if Darkblaze actually responds to this. Definitely is on his mini-map, but does not come back to it yet. And YellowSavior with another Longhorn will probably be able to get this neutralized. Darkblaze trying to keep up this mid-fight, but is losing pretty much on both fronts. And I don't even know if he's aware of this second front. Darkblaze now coming with shooters, just completely ignoring that close outpost, getting neutralized, and now YellowSavior with Priest probably will take it to that close outpost that is on Darkblaze's side. Yes, he is now, and this green unit cluster is still really alive, and YellowSavior now going to be able to grab this outpost under his control. Darkblaze still has not even come back to respond to that. He has a lot of Longhorn in that area. It's looking very dire for Darkblaze, and look at how many units are down on the field for darkblaze. You know, in this mid fight, almost all of them have been killed. Just so many buckies. You just need to let them sit there and kill, because nothing could really get in the same range as buckies, except for, I mean, other buckies and artillery, but artillery is not necessarily really the same thing, and it definitely won't put down as much damage in the same way as buckies will. And YellowSavior now with this outpost under its control can probably already push to that fort. And you know, in this new AirMech, I guess you can call it a new AirMech with this incredibly high income. And darkblaze now realizes that he has to start fighting against this bottom outpost fight. But YellowSavior with so many Longhorn over there, darkblaze is just kind of, I don't know, now shooter spamming, but really it's not going to be enough. Look at how many Longhorn that YellowSavior has sitting over here, and darkblaze is not going to be able to keep up here. Even if he takes this middle outpost, even if he cleared this big cluster of units over here, YellowSavior has just way too many Longhorn over here, and just 2 shooters. YellowSavior he could have killed them with a sword. He does have level 1 sword, doesn't even have any points into rockets. But did not decide to do that, just decided to drop a Longhorn instead. And YellowSavior even going for the mid again, even though he doesn't really need to. He could probably finish this off, seeing as darkblaze's fort is only covered with a few Dillos, 5 Dillos, I think. And oh, now YellowSavior is moving out. Might want to do a double-pronged attack here. darkblaze looking at this close that he's completely lost, completely surrounded by Longhorn. And now darkblaze moving again with some shooters, but it's once again not really gonna do too much. They will stop and fire, but in terms of the units that YellowSavior has, it will take forever to kill them without a large mass, like getting one of those critical masses of hats. It's kind of the same thing with the shooters. You really need a lot of them to really do good amounts of damage, unless you want them to just slowly move away while you're distracting the enemy in another area. And at this point, YellowSavior has mid, has darkblaze's close, can probably already push out. He has way more income because he has that extra power station and that extra close outpost on the bottom, and not even extra, because that close outpost on the bottom he took away from darkblaze, so you can kind of think of it as a 2 outpost difference, because he, you know, it's -1 and +1 on the other side. And now YellowSavior working on this forward. I really think that he can even just start to push from this bottom right here. There's so many Longhorn, and if he keeps the pressure on that fort, he could probably just leave those artillery firing out there, and darkblaze won't be able to do anything about it. And at this point, now just making more and more units, 76 to 51 in favor of YellowSavior in terms of units on the field, or at least unit cap. I guess you can call it upkeep still. I'm going to still call it upkeep. Why the hell not? And now darkblaze just making more and more Dillos, but it's probably still not really going to be enough. YellowSavior with 5 Longhorn in his queue. I don't know where he's going to decide to go with them. I mean, I would assume he's just going to put them down here. He has plenty of credits, 56,000 credits, as opposed to darkblaze's 2,000, and it's 80 to 50 upkeep right now. YellowSavior is still pumping out more and more Longhorn. Once he gets, I mean, I don't see what else he can do after he gets unit cap. Once he hits his unit cap, it's pretty much just got to move out. There's really nothing left to do. I guess he can start leapfrogging even more. Look at this surround of Longhorn. I'm not really sure why he's getting such a surround. It's not really necessary at this point. He's not fighting a multiple. It's not like a 3v3 or a 2v2 or something. It's just a 1v1. And as long as he keeps his tabs on darkblaze, he should be able to keep him away from that close, and from really taking advantage of any mispositioning there, if you can even call it that, on that bottom right, on that bottom close outpost. darkblaze still staying alive here on this forward fight, but YellowSavior with 4 Archies firing out. He will be able to eventually clear this outpost unless darkblaze just sits here and heals the entire time, and even then, YellowSavior might be able to, oh, and just a full queue of Longhorn once again. It's 76 to 58. I guess he canceled a lot of that stuff in his build queue, but he just needs to move out really right now. YellowSavior just, I mean, yeah, but I mean, okay, I guess you can say that darkblaze's cluster here, his front door wall, is pretty substantial. So YellowSavior can't really just move out, although he definitely has the credit income to just replace his you know, anything he loses in a solid push. And darkblaze, I doubt he's really gonna get too much salvage off there to really make it negatively toward, you know, make it a negative attempt, a push attempt for YellowSavior. And YellowSavior completely running out of energy there. He does have to retreat back to his outpost. Even now queuing up generators, so many units out on the field, gonna be out on the field at least for YellowSavior. This is just utter and total, you know, map control that he wants, I guess, or at least field control, if you can even call it that, setting off the neutral landmine just in case. And darkblaze now with 74 units out on the field, or 74 upkeep as well. I mean, it's not that drastic difference. It's 88 to 72, so it's not like YellowSavior has a whole lot more units. It's just, if you look at the position of them, darkblaze, all of darkblaze's units are sitting at this fort and right here at his forward. YellowSavior has all of his units sitting here at this mid, and look at the number, and all of these Longhorn. Look at those Longhorn. That is a lot of freaking Longhorn out over there, and YellowSavior has nothing else really defending, just a Bucky sitting over there, and yeah, it's just so it's the difference in terms of units out on the field. Even though the upkeep is not dramatically different. Well, okay, now it is. In between the time that I started talking and now, or started talking about that and now, it has become 92 to 59. So YellowSavior has just a dominating number of units out on the field, and even now already slowly working it out. So we're working on darkblaze's cluster with artillery, and just kind of derping around, flying around circles, drawing seeker rockets, seeker missiles out, and darkblaze trying to approach on these Buckies, and actually able to keep his units alive here with just his Osprey heal. And YellowSavior now working on the bottom as well. Is there anything down there healing? Yes, there is a ratchet. So now darkblaze does lose. Oh no, didn't lose any of those dills. Will probably lose this shooter though if he's not careful. Oh yeah, okay. I was like, oh yeah, he healed it up. No, he did lose it. And more shooters out on the field. I'm not really sure where darkblaze is gonna go with this. Okay, I guess he is going to go with just softening them up slowly. If he can keep YellowSavior's attention on that top mid fight, maybe he can actually whittle away at that bottom close outpost and those units down there. However, YellowSavior now working up here with his striker, with quite a leapfrog of Longhorn over here. But darkblaze here with his Dillos and with his Osprey going to be able to keep stuff alive. A little bit late with that last Dillo that did just get killed, but has plenty of units over here. Can probably hold this off if he just stays up and heals, you know, the way that an Osprey does and keeps units alive. It doesn't have anything. Oh, might want to put that Buster all the way in front, but YellowSavior has lost pretty much everything. Look at all that debris. You know, staying so close to an outpost like that just is really, really powerful here in this game. And he can definitely, you know, with that Osprey, especially because of the heal ability, he didn't need to actually lift or heal anything up. And everyone knows this. Everyone knows how awesome, you know, the Osprey is at just keeping things alive, especially microing at the same time. But YellowSavior finishing off all those shooters that were slowly working away at his one Longhorn, just smoking black. That's about it. So honestly, I don't know how far that got darkblaze, but darkblaze is looking really dire for darkblaze at this point. It's 74 to 90. YellowSavior is still drastically ahead. More and more units coming out, so I would expect the upkeep or the unit count to change a little bit, or to just get closer to that unit cap on YellowSavior's side. darkblaze with a couple of Dillos out on that map on the fort of YellowSavior's side. YellowSavior now responding to it, but actually losing quite a lot of damage, or quite a lot of health. Just finally now kill those Dillos, and darkblaze again with a shooter and a Dillo, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it protect it, but I guess Dillo's sitting over there just in case maybe YellowSavior drops. Might have just wanted to go with a Seeker, I guess. But oh, I have to double hide this thing. That is a little bit annoying, but yeah, now it's all the way retracted, guys. Darn. But yeah, now darkblaze as that whoa, where did the camera go there? But yeah, darkblaze as that Osprey, able to move stuff out pretty quickly. But now YellowSavior level 10 already, as opposed to only darkblaze level 9. I'm actually surprised to see that darkblaze is only one level behind YellowSavior, seeing as how far behind he is in this game. However, 98 to 65. YellowSavior can really just push out. Look how many Longhorn are down there. I would guess something about 20 to 25 Longhorn sitting down there for YellowSavior, and can definitely rebuild them really quick. He is nearing his unit cap, which I think right now is 75,000. It does change quite often in this game, but now YellowSavior gonna have to respond to these two Dillos moving out. Whoa, those Dillos now move really fast, but doesn't need to actually drop anything in blocking. Able to finish it off before it even gets to the fort. darkblaze once again making a unit line down here, but once YellowSavior sees it, I think it will be exactly the same story as it always has been. And he just is able to, you know, clear it out, or you know, force darkblaze to pull back, or to, you know, to pull away. And at this point, YellowSavior does not have I mean, now he did hit the unicap. Now he is at at 96. It is below his unicap right now, and now just making more gens. I guess he wants to max out on units. A little bit miss micro. They're missing that socket, but now his unicap is 118. He can probably just make gens all day. He won't really lose too much to Darkblaze down here. There are a lot of shooters, so it is softening up a lot of these units down there, but he has plenty of healing units to keep everything alive, especially against shooters with not really that high DPS, so it's not super threatening. And now YellowSavior now getting a full socket of generators. Does have fully socketed, yes, every single socket that he has under his own control has a generator on it, so now he can start to mass up even more. Oh, that one did get killed, but those shooters, yeah, YellowSavior can really just drop and kill. Darkblaze now with some shooters on the top right side, not on YellowSavior's radar, so he might get caught by surprise by that. Darkblaze might be able to actually neutralize that top outpost and take it under his control. However, I do think there were only 3 shooters. Yeah, there are only 3 shooters, and one is getting kind of distracted there. So at this point, Darkblaze wouldn't even take that top outpost should it get neutralized by those shooters, and probably will eventually. And now YellowSavior just bombing down to clear those infantry. Darkblaze again just spamming shooters out on the field, and now it's just YellowSavior clearing the shooters that Darkblaze puts out on the field with his bombs, and it will work extremely well. Like just bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb, and Liberty bombs while you're at it. Look, they just look so cool, guys. Those starry explosions. But you know, this attempt by Darkblaze to use shooters as a way to clear units without, you know, too much risk to his own units that he spends is not working, especially because of these bombs that YellowSavior has in his loadout. Definitely looks like a very, very counter kind of loadout that he has to what Darkblaze has on the field. Although Darkblaze has an Aegis out on the field, he does not put anything down by those shooters. Now does have one on the field for his unit cluster over here at his fort, but now YellowSavior making his way out over here with some Longhorn. But this Buster line, oh, that's actually only one Buster, but mostly Dillo line actually by Darkblaze is going to be able to keep it all alive, or not keep it alive, but keep YellowSavior away from that area. And even though YellowSavior has a lot of ratchets over here, he definitely needs enough units to really contest here, and he's not the same kind of carry mech that Darkblaze is, so he won't really get that far with this unit cluster. Yeah, and it's just going to be a little bit of a weird stalemate here between Darkblaze and YellowSavior, as YellowSavior has definitely a lot more income. 75,000 already hit his unit cap, but Darkblaze is going to be able to keep a lot of stuff alive as this Osprey, and be able to micro much faster and make a better formation over here to keep YellowSavior away from leapfrogging and approaching. YellowSavior definitely has quite a lot of units, but at this point Darkblaze has the advantage in that mech type, and especially because he already has a nice line of units already out, and he has that really long range unit in the shooter. So unless YellowSavior does put down an artillery to fight that front unit cluster from Darkblaze, and Darkblaze is definitely going to I mean, he definitely has to make a move. Now coming with 3 SAMs, there is only 1 shooter left over here, and they're not really under his control, or they're not really getting attacked by the enemy infantry that are sitting over here. And now Darkblaze with enough shooters to be able to take this under control, he might be able to grab that close outpost. Oh man, that will be pretty crazy if he actually is able to get it. Let's see, it does go under his control. So Darkblaze, where are you gonna go, man? Or are you gonna be able to, are you gonna try to continue focusing on this close outpost, or that fort defense? Or are you going, okay, he does bunker level 4 creeps up there at the top. So now YellowSavior, oh no, responding to this, did not see it the entire time. Gonna try to kill whatever he can, but already really close to his unit cap and pretty much maxed out on his gens. YellowSavior going down. Darkblaze grabbing this close outpost and has a lot of Dillos over here. There isn't too much over here to defend for YellowSavior, but does put down 2 Longhorn, or at least 1 Longhorn for blocking. Darkblaze does have to pull his Dillos back. They are still moving out because I guess he dropped them on attack, and does need to halt them in their progress toward that fort. YellowSavior really walling up here. I guess he has pretty much determined that's all he really needs. Darkblaze can't do really enough damage to finish him off, so he doesn't really need to be too afraid of that anymore. However, Darkblaze with this cluster of units and 2 Aegis out on the field, going to be able to stop those Bucky rockets. I might want to see him put down a little bit more. a couple more Aegis, because it will be really effective. Now moving, okay, so he does have 3 now, so those Bucky rockets are not going to be able to do what YellowSavior needs them to do. And if darkblaze makes, I guess, a line of something like Busters mostly and Aegis, he will be able to keep YellowSavior away much longer than YellowSavior probably would like to stay away. And YellowSavior almost getting that kill on darkblaze with those striker rockets. What level are his rockets right now? They are level 2. I think you need to be level 7 to hit level 3 rockets right now. It's kind of similar to getting goalies before, but at this point, YellowSavior, and to be honest, YellowSavior has way enough credits to be able to do that, and I think build times for abilities have gone down in this current build. And this current build times have gone down in this current build. But yeah, in this current patch, I guess it would be a little bit clearer to say that build times have been for abilities have been lessened, so you don't really have to spend so much time with them, and they also build simultaneously with units and can be killed out simultaneously, not really simultaneously, but you know, past units. And now YellowSavior with some shooters, so eventually will be able to clear those Longhorn. YellowSavior not responding at all, just bombing, but those Aegis are kind of working and are going to be able to keep YellowSavior from doing too much damage with those bombs. And let's see what YellowSavior is responding to. Does finally see the shooters, so definitely has to respond to that. Does put an artillery down on the field and decides to drop those bombs, and that is about it for darkblaze's, you know, leapfrog up with, I don't really know if you can even call that leapfrog, but you know, unit cluster there with mostly artillery and just that one Dillo. But it's getting really close to unit cap for darkblaze as well. I didn't even notice he did bring out a generator. He has a couple more sockets out on the field that he can actually slot those in. So at this point, YellowSavior has maxed at this exact same as darkblaze. I'm not really sure why. Did darkblaze? I mean, let's see. YellowSavior has he has this socketed. He does not have this one socketed. So darkblaze. Okay, darkblaze has these 4 socketed, and he does have that one back there socketed. So he does have a lot of generators on the field, and YellowSavior doesn't have any of these socketed. So that is pretty much why there. And YellowSavior now working on a different spot on the map. Darkblaze working on this bottom still, but YellowSavior going to be able to bomb down these units if darkblaze doesn't come and respond to them. He has an Osprey, so he will be able to save them pretty quickly if he does respond, but no response from darkblaze. YellowSavior will be able to finish off these units here. Can probably just land and shoot, doesn't even need to really waste bombs on them. Not that he needs the credits, because he is at his credit cap and really close to his unit cap as well. Now to sit down some Buckies. darkblaze has not even come back to that fight. Will eventually lose that forward if he doesn't start spamming units out of that build queue. And now does have Dillos coming out, so might be able to actually hold here, even though he lost quite a lot of units here in this unit cluster. YellowSavior slicing away at all these ground units that darkblaze has. Buckies are going down, but YellowSavior, oh no, gets himself killed, just slashing away, and goes into the abyss and dies. Does spend a lot of money on respawn, because honestly he did have it. He was at credit cap. Now more Buckies are coming out on the field for YellowSavior, and darkblaze actually getting quite far. I think he might have actually killed more units credit-wise than he lost there. And didn't really even lose too much, to be honest. He has quite a lot of Dillos over here still. And YellowSavior still slicing away. Might be able to actually kill some, just because that is AoE versus a single heal by darkblaze. But darkblaze's unit, that Hyper Armadillo, killing YellowSavior there on the ground. So YellowSavier's Buckies are pretty much completely cleared. And YellowSavior now with more Buckies out on the field. I'm not really sure why he's just going with Buckies. He can probably power through this with just Longhorn, especially because darkblaze has Dillos only and not Longhorn. And even if he doesn't really completely clear it, he can probably rebuild it to way better than darkblaze can. However, I mean, it's at this point they have been sitting idle, kind of not really able to spend too many credits for quite a while, so it's not really an issue of credits anymore. I guess it's an issue of build time and timing for their attacks and pushes. darkblaze moving his units even closer to this close outpost. YellowSavior now dropping Buckies behind. I guess they will force them to rotate, but those Buckies just die pretty much immediately. They are pretty much paper nowadays, and darkblaze gonna be able to oh no, I thought he was moving up units over here at this top area, but I guess not. If you guys can tell, I am using gamepad to do the spectate, because I did just recently realize just now, because I started playing with it, that gamepad can actually control map while in spectate mode. a free cam, and look how smooth this moving is. It's not like keyboard. This is very nice and smooth. I can move slowly and I can move quickly. It's very awesome. Very, very awesome. However, one problem is I don't see my mouse out on the field. Okay, now, yeah, okay, now I do see it finally. I guess I have to move it quite a lot, but it's really hard to, yeah, now I can, okay, I have to move it really, really fast to actually make it visible on the thing, on the screen. So if I want to actually click on the mini-map to move the map, I have to do some weird, drastic stuff with my mouse to be able to do that. So now darkblaze trying to move out, but YellowSavior does catch it in time. Definitely has enough buckies to defend here. And darkblaze definitely still has enough dillos to hold, though, so it doesn't really have to worry too much about losing that bottom outpost. However, YellowSavior still pumping out more buckies, can do a leapfrog type of thing, or at least that bucky line thing that we, did see in the bucky meta, and all you have to do is just, leapfrog and make sure your buckies are protected. However, it doesn't really have any longhorn. Oh, he's moving out with the ice cream buckies. Gotta love that music. It's so charming, I would say. Such awesome music. It's just ice cream truck buckies delivering you deliciousness and devastation and destruction all in one. Oh, and YellowSavior did decide to move out his longhorn as well, so we will be able to retake this outpost, I'm pretty sure. darkblaze, I doubt darkblaze will be able to hold on to this. darkblaze losing the majority of his units, only has a single dillo left, trying to kill what he can, but with that Osprey fire on the ground, getting chased down and finished off in the air by YellowSavior. And now YellowSavior taking back this close outpost, gonna move them out, but some of them are gonna go on this side lane. They are gonna hit a couple of Goliath, which is a little bit scary, but a couple of them are moving through this middle outpost. darkblaze now moving to try to take back his close, and I really don't know how much hope he has to do that, but now YellowSavior going to try to take this close outpost away from darkblaze. darkblaze not responding to that yet, just really focusing on this close outpost attack. He might actually be able to get it if YellowSavior just decides to keep all of his attention here, taking this forward away from darkblaze, but dropping buckies behind dillos is probably just not that productive, because the buckies aren't really going to do too much damage to the back of those dillos, but the dillos will rotate their turrets pretty quickly, not as quick as Gemini obviously, but quick enough. And I mean, I don't know the exact math, but it might. I do have a feeling that it's just not going to come out positive for you if you drop, just a 1-to-1, one bucky behind one dillo. I do think the Dillo will probably still win, even though you're getting that double damage on that Dillo. But now YellowSavior moving out again with his ice cream buckies, just line after line of terrifying ice cream chucks coming at you. darkblaze working his way to clearing this outpost of all of its units, but YellowSavior going to be able to neutralize this outpost. Look at all the ice cream buckies over there. Oh my god, that is a lot. But those light mines able to just devastate those buckies. One horrible thing, but darkblaze trying to move his Dillo out, decides there's no real place to drop it, so decides to continue at that close fight. But YellowSavior taking that corner, that back corner outpost under his control, and look at this cluster of units. I don't think YellowSavior is really going to be able to fight against that. He might be able to keep this outpost neutral for quite a while. And is he bringing just more and more buckies? He might want to just bring infantry so he can just spam the buckies out of his queue really quick. Especially at quarter 4, those infantry have a lot of life. They will be able to keep the outpost not neutral for a little while. They won't get destroyed that quickly. And now darkblaze still trying to make his way toward that close outpost. Actually, I would say he is winning that fight. However, these buckies on the YellowSavior side are actually doing a pretty good job at hitting the units that are outside, hitting those tanks outside of the tank range. So and now darkblaze does drop a buster, will be able to start whittling away there at those buckies. However, YellowSavior now deciding to move his fight to this back corner. We are at 27 minutes. This would be overtime too in version 1 rules, but this is, I guess we can now call this version 3. A lot of people like calling it version 1.5 because it is kind of a merged, unified set of rules. There is no limited credits, limited resources, I guess that's what you want to call it. That's what it was called. There is no limited resources in this mode, and YellowSavior might actually spend money on respawn here. Yes, he did definitely spend money on respawn. Coming back to the fight, definitely does not really need the money. Has a full queue of buckies. darkblaze moving his Dillos up will probably clear all of these buckies actually. Now YellowSavior coming back to the fight might actually lose this outpost, dropping his buckies on those mines. At this point he might just want to go with Longhorn. Those buckies die really quickly, and he's not going to do the kind of honestly, buckies are better in a support role nowadays in today's game. It's really hard to use them purely as offense because they are so paper. They die really quick to bombs any AoE, and even direct fire kills them extremely quickly. These Aegis having a hard time keeping up with all those Bucky missiles. Look at all those Buckies that were stationed over there for YellowSavior. I do think, actually, now that I think about it, kind of tangenting here, but the Duel probably has the auto-populate system that Ken had recently implemented, and has 20 waypoints per outpost, so you can actually send 20 units per T-capture commands issued. And they won't do that split that they normally do. darkblaze a little bit AFKing here, just idling over here, and oh, and then he says, damn, this game is too boring. Yeah, this is really long. It's 29 minutes already. I cannot believe how fast / slow the time has gone by, and YellowSavior looking at all those Buckies. He could probably set them all on capture, and they will go to this outpost right here. darkblaze this is his only outpost left in this game that is not under YellowSavier's control. darkblaze just flying around circles, kind of trying to kill YellowSavior in the air. YellowSavior can really just push out and get this win. Or either that, or, you know, stop the Buckies slightly out of that tank range. However, the rest of darkblaze's units there at that bottom left, that bottom close, are probably going to get finished off by these Buckies, and they're out of tank range missiles. darkblaze moving them up, keeping some units alive, ratcheting and ratcheting. Is that even possible at this point? You know, dropping ratchets to heal and healing with his Osprey, and now moving out here. Look at all the tanks and Buckies. darkblaze has moved pretty much everything from that front door to that close, and almost all of them have died. 81 to 30 is the upkeep right now. darkblaze with not too much left here. This is going to be the end of the game unless darkblaze can pull off some kind of miracle, and really the miracle will only be a stall tactic until YellowSavior can move more units out here to this fort. Blue life is draining really quick. YellowSavior dropping the GG, and the victory going to YellowSavior. Wow, quite a long game, but I mean, this really does show, you know, how, I guess you can kind of think of it as standard high-level play of AirMech. You know, it's not really hyper-aggressive, especially if you want to play it safe, like YellowSavior did. Not going too aggressive, not gonna lose to counter pushes, and it's still one of the big problems in this game is the defender's advantage and losing the counter pushes after your initial push gets decimated by that defender's advantage. Granted, there were no brutes or specifically broken units in this game, in this specific game. It's still a problem until we get map editor. Really, it's going to be a problem until then. There is no getting rid of defender's advantage, and honestly, it is one of the core concepts of this game, and so it probably shouldn't be rid of to begin with. Please, map editor, want that to come out. So guys, if you have any games to send in to me, send them into ruy0x@gmail.com, or you can also message me on Steam at ruy, and click my video description, obviously. I think I'm going to try to get the watch more screen in more of these games, but if I don't want it to be awkward, so I'm just going to say it. This is RUI, and that is game. See you next time.